Good morning, students. As we were understanding about the early Vedic age, and we started a new chapter where we studied about comparatively what was there in the previous chapter, which taught us about the later Vedic period, how the peoples were, and in the early Vedic period that we studied as to after the coming of the Aryans and settling down in different places, like in Sapta Sindhu, then in the Indo-Gangetic areas where it was later termed or called by them as Brahmavarta, and they were known as Aryas or Aryavartas. The generation were known as Aryavartas. And we studied about various different aspects of social life and the pattern of living of this later Vedic period. And in later Vedic period, it is stated that compared to the early Vedic period, it was quite different. As civilization or people developed, as the population increased, the system of kingdomship, leadership, then the transfer of power from one hand to another, it transferred or it changed. We also learned that earlier, where the kings did not have much power in regarding to what they had held in the early Vedic period. Later on, when kingdoms system started, the kings were considered as the supreme power, and the powers were transferred from one to the another according to a hereditary, that is through blood relationship. A king dies, that means what? His son or blood related person becomes the next king. Now in this we studied about the classification of society, how the society was divided. Now in the early Vedic period, comparatively if you study, it is stated that most of the things were done according to the basis of occupation. The category of the society was divided or classified according to the working or the kind of profession a person practiced. Now here it was stated that a person during the early Vedic period could change its varna or change its occupation and can become a next classified person in the varna system. Like if a person who is from Vaishyas, who is related to business, who is related to art and crafts, who is related to crafting and all, doing trade, merchanting. Now, if they were experts in regarding to using weapons and they practiced, and they later on chose to be warriors, then they could categorize themselves as Kshatriyas. That was the second part of the Varna system. Whereas this particular system was not followed in the later Vedic period. There was a very rigid and strict kind of society system where a person, when he is born in the particular caste or particular category of the Varna system or the society, the whole generation is considered, or the upcoming generation is considered to be in the same particular Varna. But in same system it had where Brahmanas were there, or Brahmins were there, then Kshatriyas were there, then the Vaishyas were there, and the Shudras were there, who were the lower category uneducated people, labor people, who worked for the other three categories of the Varna system or the society, divisions of the society. The next is about the family system of the early Vedic period. Here, again, if you comparatively study what existed in the early Vedic period, where men domination was there, but still, where men dominated a large portion of the family system or the activities, the women were also not left behind in various different activities. But this system started to change, where in later Vedic period, men had the same position, being the head of the family. Okay, and sons were given a large importance. Like if a family, in a family, if a son is born, it is regarded to be, or it was highly regarded for that family. Okay, and in that, women's powers or their opportunities started coming down. It declined. Here it is said that in early Vedic period, where Women participated in various different activities. They had certain rights. In later Vedic period, all these were taken away. They were only made to see the household work and to take care of the children and the family. The only thing is that they were allowed to participate in various different religious ceremonies along with the husband or the male members of the family. So these are where the certain changes that were found in the later Vedic period in regarding to the society system or the system of family that existed in the early Vedic period and which changed during the later Vedic period. Now the next important thing that we are going to learn is about the 4 important ashramas that started existing during the later Vedic period. Now first one is known as Brahmacharya. Now, what does it from Brahmacharya means? It was regarded as the first stage of the life of people. What they need to do. Brahmacharya means a person or a time where a person stayed unmarried and he had to go to the Gurukul or a place of education where he got knowledge about various different things and he got educated, and that person had a formality of completing the educational system during the time of Brahmacharya. This was the early or the initial stage of the life of the people during that time that they had to follow. The next, according to these 4 ashramas, is Vanaprastha. Now, what was Vanaprastha? Vanaprastha was a stage where, I'm sorry. The second part is actually Grihastha. Now Grihastha, what it is? Now Grihastha was a stage where after the gain of knowledge or gain of education, here is stated that personal life during this time started to grow. They had become adults or grown-ups and they started to have family life. That means what? They started to tie knots in regarding to marriage ceremonies with a female and started to have a family life and do household activities or activities which is in regarding to running their own families in different ways as they wanted. The third one is known as Vanaprastha. The third one is known as Vanaprastha, where after a certain period of time, after a long certain period of time, it was a stage where people had to renounce the or give up the worldly things, forget about the worldly things and the families and all, and had to go for meditation and seek the salvations or blessings of God that they believed during the time in different religious activities, and do meditation to find moksha or to find salvation during this particular stage of time. The third one is known as sannyasa. The last which existed during the time among this all system of ashramas was known as sannyasa. Now sannyasa itself states that where a person renounces everything that he was attracted towards in the early stages of his life and leaving all the things, he used to become a ascetic, means like a you can call it as a sadhu who had to lose or leave every aspect of his earlier life and move towards his own meditation and other activities which is in regarding to the benefit or moral values of life, learning about the moral values and putting them into practice. In this stage, they learn the value of getting closer to the God or the Almighty or the Creator during the time, and get peace into their minds, and they renounced everything, or they left everything that was there in the earlier stages of their life. So these were the four important ashramas that is stated here, which differentiates the life of the people, that they lived from one stage to another. They converted their life from one stage to the another. Where in initial part, in Brahmacharya, their life journey starts with getting knowledge and knowing things that existed around them, but very different subjects, various different aspects of life, through an institute during the time where which was known as Gurukuls. Now in present times we have schools, colleges, universities where students they go and learn about different things. Earlier there used to exist Gurukuls where gurus were there and they imparted knowledge to their own people who used to come to them and wanted to know about different aspects of life. The second was Grihastha. After getting knowledge, when they had grown up, they had to start family life. And this is the stage where marriages took place. Vanaprastha, at a certain period of time of his life journey from Brahmacharya and Grihastha, the third is started as Vanaprastha, where the person has to renounce all its relationships, all its things, and move towards and used to go away in the forest to meditate. The last one is Sannyasa, where in this last stage he had to renounce or leave all the things that he was or she was he was attracted with, and understand the importance relationship of religion, truth, and through that to come more closer to the Almighty or God. So these are the four important ashramas that the people during that time followed. Then there comes the importance of Gurukul system, as I was teaching you, as I told you in Brahmacharya stage, where Gurukuls played a very important role in forming or molding the life of the people in their very early stage. Now you have schools and institutions where teachers are there, who impart you knowledge, who tell you about different things, who make you understand about different things. In the same way, earlier also, there were special places which was known as Gurukuls. Now this Gurukul was an institution or a house of education. This was called a house of education, which existed during the later Vedic period. Where gurus were there, and the students who used to come there to get knowledge, or the children who used to come there for getting knowledge, were known as Shishyas. Okay. Now, it is stated that as being one of the important aspects of the early stages that we studied, that the initial part where Brahmacharya we had studied just now, is stated about education and all. So this education or getting knowledge was done in Gurukuls, where there were gurus and the existence of sisters who learned under their gurus. Now till they attain the age of 25 years, they had to stay in Gurukul and learn about different things, different subjects, and have deep knowledge about various aspects of the life. And the children were regarded as to be one of the important aspects where they learned various things in their own way during that time. Now as you know that we have different methods of learning now. Earlier it was not so. Most probably it was certain Vedas were there, as we have understood in the previous chapter. Then oral descriptions were there. It can be means in practical way being in the nature and studying. And these gurukuls were regarded as, like, for example, if you go to your schools, you have a place, right? You have a building, a school building. Then you have your own classrooms, individual classroom divided into various sections, individual classes, where you have a place to sit on a regular basis. But during this time in early Vedic period when gurukuls existed, they did not have any definite place of study. They most probably got knowledge from their gurus in open areas. It might be under a tree or under a shade and or an open area. Those were their place of studies. Those were their institutes or schools or places where they sat around, being around near their gurus and understanding what the gurus is or the gurus are telling them. Now, students not only learned here about various subjects or learned about only getting knowledge. It was stated that they also learned about various different things as to how works are being done. So they were made to work, or they were working like what? Cleaning areas, keeping the surrounding neat and clean, doing their own activities by themselves, and various different things of daily routine activities that had to be done by a person to make themselves self-reliant or self-maintained and learn about how things are being done. They had to only learn things through oral descriptions and memorize them, and some of the parts were found in writings, because earlier times it was very hard to find writing systems existed during the time. With some of the basic things they were found in writing formation, because most of the things were on oral or spoken words, where it were imparted to them through open areas through oral conversations and discussions, and students used to understand and know these and keep them in their minds. On the other hand, when the students or the shishyas, they used to get knowledge, or when the educational part was completed, before leaving they had to give something which is known as Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina to the teachers, where important things or any kind of important thing that they felt like from their own part or own self, they used to submit it before their gurus before leaving the place. So these were some of the important things that existed in the early Vedic period, and it was seen that in early Vedic period there were highly educated women also. In a book, if you see, there are examples of people like Gargi, there are examples of women like Matiyeri. These are the names given that indicates that women also had various aspects of knowledgeable things that they understood, and they also got educated and knowledge in various different fields. Now in later Vedic period, it was stated that this system of Vedic literature changed to a very large number. In early Vedic, where women were given opportunity to study, to get educated, to learn about various other aspects of activities like dancing, singing, if they were keen to learn about it. But in later Vedic period, it happened that these all importance that were given earlier to the women did not exist. It started declining day by day or one by one. The next is about the existence of religion. The existence of religion is an important aspect, where I have already told you that each and every society that was divided into was having their own importance or own system of living. Now the main important of religious activity were on the shoulders of the Brahmins or the Brahmanas were there, who used to take care of the religious activities during that time. All the various important religious activities that were done, or complicated rituals or ceremonies, religious ceremonies that were performed, were done under the Brahmanas. And there were different existence of God system or worshipping system, where three important supreme power were worshipped during the later Vedic period. The importance were the three important supreme powers that during the time they worship are known as Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Now Brahma was known as the god of creator, who was in regarding to creations of different things. Vishnu was regarded as the god of preserver. Whatever that was created, whatever that was made by Brahma was preserved by, it was stated that it was preserved by Vishnu under his own power, under his own guidance. Then Shiva was termed as the god of destroy or redemption. Where these three important existence of gods were prevailing, and these three were categorized during the later Vedic period as one of the important superpowers that were worshipped during the times. And worshipping this were most probably conducted, as I told you, by the Brahmins. Now there existed various religious books or religious Vedas that were followed during that time, which was there existed in the early Vedic period also. We studied about the two important epical mythical books, which is known as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, that existed, which gave various different aspects of life, which taught various different theories of life, ideologies of life. And these epical stories or epical writings taught people about what was the system that followed during the early period and which were the important things that existed, or the actual foundation of Hinduism based on these two important books, epical books, which is known as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. In Ramayana, it is stated that it stated the moral values as to how a person in this known as Rama, leaving his own ethical family or leaving his own royal family, had to face the drastic condition of 14 years of separation from his family, living in forest, and how his journey converted and brought about changes into the society or into the earth, where he was known as one of the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, who had come and brought various changes in the minds of the people. And when we study, we learn about various moral values of life of Lord Rama. In Mahabharata, it was said that it was written by Rishi Vyasa. The details of Mahabharata was written by Rishi Vyasa, and in the story it was a conflict that existed between two different, or you can say a same group of family divided into two, which is known as the Pandavas and the Kauravas, where the good and the evil clashed with each other, and how the importance of Lord Krishna brought about changes into the system during this time. And how various important things that were told by Lord Rama were written down in Mahabharata, and which gave various important moral values, which later on the sayings or sloks of Lord Krishna were written down in one of the important books which is followed by the Hindus, is known as the Bhagavad Gita. And this book or holy book is based on the advices or the things that were told by Lord Krishna to Arjun before entering into war with his own family, which were against them, known as the Kauravas, in the battle of Kurukshetra. Now these are some of the important things which states about the religious activities or religious formations during the time or during the early Vedic time and the later Vedic period that was followed. Now the Ramayana was composed. Now this, as we studied about Ramayana, it was composed by Valmiki, whereas Mahabharata was composed by Rishi Vedvyas. Now these are the two important books that were composed by two different individuals during the time. Ramayana was composed by Rishi Valmiki and Mahabharata was composed or written by Rishi Vedvyasa. Now these two people existed during the time. Now how did they understand and write about what was going on, how it existed? Now these were considered as to be those people who had supreme and or external kind of powers within themselves, and using those external kind of powers through meditations, through lot of ritual ceremonies that they inherited within themselves. It helped them to write these compositions of two different important books, which is known as epical books, which is known as Ramayana and the Mahabharata, which lays down the foundation or which states the foundation of Hinduism that existed from the very long period of time. Now here students, what we studied about what existed in the early Vedic period and what existed or the society, how it changed from what was there in the early Vedic period in the time of later Vedic period, where the society system changed, where the social structure changed, where the ashramas were instituted or started to be followed, the four different parts: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. Then the importance of religious activities and the existence of gurukuls, which laid the foundation or which laid the important significance of the society or the people or the living style of the later Vedic period, people of the later Vedic period. So we'll end up today here understanding about these important aspects, and I want you to go through your books if you have and understand more in details about what we have gone through now. In the next class, we are going to learn in the same chapter about an important aspect that exists or that started during this time, which is known as Hinduism, where we are going to learn about how this word came into existence, how it prevailed, and what was the journey of the system of or the Hindus or this term known as Hinduism started and how it developed during the or that existed from a very long period of time. So this is all for today, and have a good day and be safe. Thank you very much.